So if you look down here, it says the following text is taken from Susan so and so. You don't need to read the author's name. A lot of authors' names can be very difficult to pronounce even. So the effort that you put into it is really not worth it because nothing there is really that important in terms, unless you've seen, the author's work before, but most likely it's not going to make a difference at all. So here it was written by Susan. Great. 1912, does that matter? Not really. Does the title matter out there? For poems, yes, but for most narratives, like made up stories, absolutely not. So here we're going to cross out and then jump over this and go straight to what we call the opening blurb or kind of explanation as to what the story is about. And this portion right here can account up to 50% of what you need to know. So this is the main thing that you should focus on instead of the story itself, okay? And so here it says an elderly shop owner is looking at a picture that he recently acquired and hopes to sell. Okay, cool. We know that there's a figure, an elderly man, and we know also that there's a picture. So those two are what we call the critical nouns or the keywords. We're going to start from there. The answer must contain both, and we'll check it out as we go down below. And let's start with the story. It did seem that the picture failed to fit in with the rest of the shop. So that's negative. And this tracking of positive and negative is very important. And that will give you that what I call the panoramic, meaning you're distancing yourself from the passage a little and you're seeing it from afar and giving these connotative values and keywords. Connotative value meaning, is it positive what they're saying? Is it negative what they're saying? Or is it just neutral? And the keyword meaning, what are we talking about? And how is that affecting what? Instead of all the minor details that surround them. So here, it is starting with the negative. It says the picture failed to fit in. So that's not good. And then it explains how it didn't fit in. And this is what we call the detail zone. Now, if you wish to read this portion, absolutely fine. But just don't deep dive into it because then you're going to get lost in that detail and it's extremely difficult to get out of that because you have now consumed so much detail that's going to be very difficult to decipher everything. So instead of reading word for word in the detail zone, just skim through it really fast and then pause in the second half like this. You know how there are two paragraphs. So that means I'm going to go from an idea to another idea. So I'm saying, hey, it's negative. It didn't really fit in. Blah, 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 right? I call it the blah, blah zone, but you don't have to. If you want to read it, read it. And then it says, and yet the old man was secretly proud of this acquisition. So that's positive. So it's going from a negative to a positive. So now let's recap. You have the elderly man, the shop owner. You have the picture. Picture doesn't fit in that well, but the owner likes it. That's it. That's what we call panoramic. Like you're not really zooming into anything. You're just seeing it from afar. The panoramic stage says, I have two emotions towards it, right? So the owner says, you know what? It's not really fitting into the shop, but I like it. Okay, so now when we look at the answers, I'm looking for that conflicting emotion of whom, though? Of the shop owner. So if I look at ABCD, the first thing I look for is the shop owner. I need that. So A has it, obviously. B has it. Most likely, everything will have it because that's like the major thing. Oh, so this one doesn't have. So D doesn't have a shop owner, but we're talking about the shop owner. That's the main subject, right? So we got to have it. Followed by what? The picture, right? So we got the picture. I got the picture there. It doesn't have a picture. You got to explicitly mention that. It's not items. I'm just talking about one picture. So I got the two. See? We eliminated two just by knowing the nouns. Now we deep dive and we go to reveal the shop owner's conflicting feelings. See how you go from negative to positive, positive, negative. That's conflicting right there. B says to convey the shop owner's resentment, which is negative, of the person he got the new picture from. Well, there's no other person in here. And you only have a negative. I go from a negative to positive here, which is exactly what I'm looking at, right? Right there, right? I'm going to grab that. But if you look at B, it's just negative. I don't have a positive. I didn't switch. Where is my secretly proud? So B's out, A's it.